I would like to introduce to you our reviewing officer, but before I do so, just some people that are that I should mention their presence. We have Mr. Chris Kitson, if you could stand, Director General of the Museum, who will be addressing you a little later on. We have Regimental Sergeant Major Joe DeWine, who sponsored our flagpoles. If it weren't for him, the flags would not be up. And obviously we have our sponsors who sponsor the flags. We have two guests of honor. We have Anna Luckman, Silver Cross Mother, honorary chair of the closing ceremonies, who is present with us. She will be walking in with our reviewing officer, Lieutenant Colonel Karen McCrimmon. Lieutenant Colonel McCrimmon was born in Western Ontario. Her father was a technician employed by the AV Roll Company, working on the famous Avro Arrow CF-105, the last one made. Her mother immigrated from Scotland on her own at the age of 20. When the Arrow project was cancelled in 1959, her father found work with Trans-Canada Airlines and moved the family to Timmins, Ontario in 1971. The family moved to Windsor, Ontario. When in high school, Lieutenant Colonel McCrimmon joined the Royal Canadian Army Cadets. Canadian Forces pioneer, Lieutenant Colonel McCrimmon honed her leadership and team-building abilities in the service of her country. Lieutenant Colonel McCrimmon joined the Canadian Armed Forces as a reservist in 1975, joining the ranks of the Windsor Regiment. She graduated with a Bachelor of Arts from the University of Windsor in Russian and Linguistics, and originally wanted to work in Canada's diplomatic corps. After graduating, Lieutenant Colonel McCrimmon transferred to the regular forces in 1980, and in 1981, with the rank of lieutenant, she became an air navigator, the first woman to earn such a qualification. Lieutenant Colonel McCrimmon rose quickly through the ranks. In 1995, at the rank of major, she was made a member of the Order of Military Merit, and in 1998 was promoted to the present rank of Lieutenant Colonel and given command of 429 Transport Squadron, becoming the first woman to command a Canadian Forces Flying Squadron. In 2000, she headed the Transport and Rescue Standardization and Evaluation Team. Lieutenant Colonel McCrimmon did a tour of duty in Afghanistan in 2004, where she was responsible for NATO airlift coordination. In July 2006, she was posted to Ramstein, Germany, to serve as a senior staff officer at the NATO Air Headquarters. Lieutenant Colonel McCrimmon retired from the forces in 2006. After retiring from the Canadian Armed Forces, she started her own business offering mediation services to both public and private institutions. In December 2012, she announced her bid for the leadership of the Liberal Party of Canada, and she conceded to the present winner, our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau. In 2015, during the Canadian federal election, Lieutenant Colonel McCrimmon was a Liberal candidate in Canada-Carleton, essentially the Ottawa portion of Carleton, where she won with a sweeping margin. On November 4th, 2015, Lieutenant Colonel McCrimmon was sworn in as a Member of Parliament for the riding of Canada-Carleton. After the election, she was touted as a candidate for a cabinet portfolio. Lieutenant Colonel McCrimmon is currently the Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Veteran Affairs and Associate Minister of National Defence. Lieutenant Colonel McCrimmon believes that our success as a nation has and will continue to be achieved through mutual respect, cooperation, and dialogue. She is a private pilot and is a member of the Women's Executive Network, the Canadian Federation of University Women, the Royal Canadian Legion, and Canadian Women in Aviation, and also the Federation for Medical Women of Canada. She is also an alma mater of the University of Windsor and the Harvard University. Lieutenant Colonel McCrimmon received the following honors and decorations during and after her military career. She was appointed on September 6, 1995 to the Order of Military Merit and invested on December 6, 1995 to the Order. She has received the Gulf and Kuwait Medal with bar. She has received the General Campaign Star with the Southwest Asia Ribbon. She was awarded the Special Service Medal. She was awarded the Canadian Peacekeeping Service Medal, and she was awarded the Canadian Forces Decoration with Web Class, and she just recently informed me that she was very short of a second class. She currently lives in Woodland, Ontario. with her husband, Rob McCrimmon, who she has been married to since 1985. They have 2 grown children. So I would ask you to please stand for the arrival of our reviewing officer, who will be escorted by our honorary chair, Silver Cross Mother, Anna Lovely. The person joining me for the, you may be seated. My apologies. The person joining me for the protocol salute was recently retired Master Warrant Officer Caroline Morissette, my co-chair for the ceremonies. Proceeding with the ceremony, I've introduced to you a wonderful lady who has taken time of her schedule to come and address us for the ceremonies. But first, I would like to invite someone who, without the collaboration, this project would have never seen the light of day, and that is the Director General of the Canadian Aviation and Space Museum, Mr. Chris Kitson. Sir.
Thank you, Patrick. Bon après-midi, mesdames et messieurs, membres du Parlement, Madame Karen McCrimmon, tous ceux et celles qui sont ici pour rendre hommage à nos anciens combattants. It's actually been a powerful few weeks, or a couple of months really, for us here at the Canada Aviation and Space Museum. It's a period in which we've had many opportunities to reflect on those who have represented and fought for our country. At the end of October, with Member of Parliament Karen McCrimmon as well, we launched with Sound Venture and its other partners the Wings of Courage at the museum. This program, which includes an hour-long documentary, a Vimy Ridge trench map, 6 educational videos, and the construction of 2 replica First World War aircraft, serves as a legacy tribute and a program that remembers Canada's first World War aviators. Last weekend, we hosted a program here with the support of the Department of National Defence on the British Commonwealth Air Training Plan and its impact on our nation. And that was watched by thousands of people across the country. It was very striking, actually, for us, because we had a program here, we decided to broadcast it, and it became the second most popular program that we had ever put live online. So just going to show again how many people are interested and want to know more about our veterans in the First World War and Second World War. Over the last few weeks, I've also had the opportunity to review a project we're working on in collaboration with Veterans Affairs, which features interviews with a large number of World War II veterans. It's still being developed. The B-roll has not been added, but I can tell you that I've watched, there's 5 programs that are being established. I've watched all 5, and I was glued to my seat. It was incredibly powerful. The veterans took me through a wide range of emotions as they talked about their experiences in the Second World War, and I'm really looking forward ultimately to making this program available. It's going to be developed as an educational package for schools across the country. At first I wasn't sure, is this something that students are going to want to watch, and I can assure you that they will, that it really was truly touching. It was funny at times. I mean, our veterans went through a wide range of emotions, as did those who were watching them. And throughout this period, of course, we're reminded constantly about those who were lost through our Flags of Remembrance program. It's a fantastic yet very poignant initiative that its organizers are also using to support veterans and these programs that capture their voices for current generations and for future generations as well. And I really tip my hat to all of those of you who have been working so hard with this particular initiative, because again, having watched those stories recently, I can tell you how important it is for us to capture them, to collect them, and to make them available. So, je crois que tous ces projets, individuellement et collectivement, démontrent l'appréciation de notre pays pour nos anciens combattants. Le respect que nous avons pour tous leurs efforts. C'était un honneur pour le musée de travailler sur cette initiative importante. Je vous remercie pour nous avoir donné cette opportunité. And again, just at a personal level, I was told, and I've been told by those working at the museum, that they're going to be very sorry to see those flags go. That for them too, it was a powerful reminder of the sacrifice our veterans and our soldiers have made for us throughout the years. So we look forward to working with you into the future, and I hope that we have other opportunities to do so. So thank you very much. And I don't know, are you calling up our next speaker? Very good. So thank you. Thank you.
On that note, someone very important that I forgot to mention, but I deem it appropriate to mention it now. We've been verbally confirmed that we will be returning next year to the Aviation Museum. The Aviation Museum has requested that we come back to this site. And all of this, if she could step forward out of the shadows, Miss Jillian Dinoyer. She is Visitor Experience Officer for the Aviation Museum. She's standing in the back, she's shy. But she is also she's also the liaison officer for Veteran Voices of Canada, and she will be part of us next year, hopefully. But without her, all of this would not have been possible either. I would like now to ask our guest of honor, our reviewing officer, Lieutenant Colonel Karen McCrimmon, to come and please address us.
Wow. And I really did beg him not to do that whole bio, but he was determined. But you know what? That's what leadership is. I'm afraid leadership is determined, right? And when I think of this great country, the kind of leadership role that we played in the rest of the world, the example that we set, that leadership requires great sacrifice. And there were so many men and women who stepped up to make that sacrifice, to keep our country free. What a great gift. What a great gift that these men and women left as a legacy for us. And people who've made the sacrifice, like Anna. My heart breaks. My heart breaks for the families who have, lost a loved one. And those who are dealing with loved ones who come home with injuries, whether they're physical or mental or emotional. Those families are struggling, and they need our help. In World War I, they called PTSD, they called it shell shock. In World War II, they called it battle fatigue. And now we call it PTSD, but it's all the same thing. It's people who are struggling with what they faced when they went to war. And even though I've been to some of these places, even I've been spared the worst of it. But there are a lot of people who've come home and they have not been. And therefore it's our responsibility to step up and to recognize the sacrifices and the gifts that we've been given. And I know the museum has been a long-time supporter of all the veterans events, and I'd like to thank Chris and Jillian for that. We always know that you're there whenever we need you. And also I want to thank all of you for making the effort to come out today, to participate, the organizers of this, and Patrick and Anna and the whole team. Look at that. How can that not but touch your heart as you drive by? It has to. And that's what we've been told. I've heard it from many people that said we drive by on the parkway and we see that line of flags. And now they know what it means. So it becomes part of the conscious effort we make to say thank you to those who have made that sacrifice, paid that duty, made that service, and gave us the wonderful gift of our freedom and of this great country. And Canada is going to need to play that leadership role in the world once again. It really is conflict, warfare is not our first resort. Dialogue is important. Diplomacy is important. Development is important. And when you have to go to war, then you go. But the world needs more of that Canadian engagement, that Canadian involvement, that leadership that so many of you, Patrick, and your team showed by making this project such a resounding success. So I just wanted to say thank you. It is such an honor and a privilege for me to be here with you today, and I look forward to chatting with you after the ceremony. So thank you for the invitation to come. I am absolutely honored.
If I can just add one note to Lieutenant Colonel McCrimmon's comment. It was brought to my attention by Ms. Dinwiddie that her staff have been inundated with questions about the flags. People just driving by or people actually visiting the museum, they've had to take more than usual phone calls on people inquiring what the flags were. So hopefully that now they've been visible, more and more people will participate next year in sponsoring the flags. At this point, I would invite Lieutenant Colonel McCrimmon, as we say in our common language, front and center, for the presentation of the plaques to the different sponsors. Ms. McCrimmon. Our first plaque will be given to our honorary chair of the closing ceremonies. Ms. McCrimmon, if you want to stand at the middle, and the flags will be brought to you. Our first flag will be given to our honorary chair of the closing ceremonies, Silver Cross Mother, Miss Anna Loveman, on behalf of the Bernie family. Miss Loveman. Our second plaque, which is also for Craftsman Kyle Sinclair, will be received by his sister, Rosalind Sinclair. Ms. Sinclair. Our third plaque, in memory of Gunner Oren Leonard Stanley, will be received by Councilman Mike Duggan, Councilman for the City of Gatineau, on behalf of the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 33 of Elmer. In tribute of a present serving member, Caporal Jean-Marc Gonneau-Clark, j'inviterai l'époux de Madame Gonneau-Clark, conseillère de la ville de Gatineau, M. Robert Clark, de venir recevoir la plaque et le drapeau. I would ask Miss Lori Belendamour to come and receive a plaque that she sponsored for newly retired Master Warrant Officer Carol Morissette in tribute. Miss Belendamour. Our next plaque will be received on behalf of Master Warrant Officer retired Daniel Tellier, who could not be with us. He has asked that Miss Louise Poudrier step forward and receive, in memory of, the plaque for his uncle, Henri Aimé Roy. Our next recipient, if I may go out a little bit of schedule, some people were not privileged to meet this gentleman. This next plaque is in tribute to Corporal Abraham Abe Zeisler. He was a British combat gentleman. Briefly, he was part of the Tinder Project, was taken out of Germany when he was young. He was also of Jewish faith. He was transported to British, that's why they call it the Tinder Project. Growing up, he enrolled in the British Armed Forces, and part of his duties was to interview the Germans who were deported from Russia once the war was over. And he was here when we received his plaque, and he attended the ceremony. And on behalf of himself, and on behalf of his son-in-law and his daughter, they wish to convey to Master Warrant Officer Morissette and those who were present, and to all the National Capital Region members. They wanted me to give to you their utmost thank you for the respect and the show of appreciation that you brought to him, and also to Miss Desnoyers, who was there, who showed compassion, although she's not military. They were very touched by the group, and Mr. Zeisler is on his way back home in Calgary today, hence why they could not make the ceremony. But it was very hard for him it is very hard for him to speak of his experiences, but what the group did for him, I was told by Mr. Hughes, his son-in-law, that he was ecstatic when he was taking up the phone and telling everyone what the group did for him. He was very appreciative. So on behalf of Miss Ellen Ruth Zeisler and Mr. Carlton Hughes, I would ask Miss Kimberly Phillips to please come forward and accept the plaque on their behalf. The next plaque, the mother lives in Windsor and could not make it, so she is Miss Margaret Simon, and she lost her son to depression. He was a reservist, and we have asked Corporal Marco Lafontaine to represent the mother and accept the flag on her behalf. our second to last presentation on behalf of the Sons of Scotland, who could not make it due to a prior engagement. This is for Chief Warrant Officer Robert Michael Joseph Giroir. He was killed in action in Afghanistan. This plaque is in memory. And we have asked Corporal Glenn Miller to accept the plaque on behalf of the Sons of Scotland. Our last presentation is not a sponsorship plaque, but is more of a plaque that will be kept in close guard. I would ask Ms. Gillian Dinoy and Mr. Chris Kitson to please step forward. We had a plaque made up in both languages by our sponsor, Mr. Joe DeWine, and it reads in both languages. These 128 flags represent 128,000 Canadian war dead and missing in action from the Boer War to the present. The hero named on each honor plaque acts as guardian of the 1,000 souls that one flag represents. We promise to never forget. Veteran Voices of Canada. Seeing as the Aviation and Space Museum have decided to partner up with us for the coming years, we are presenting them with the first official flag that was flown on their grounds. With this plaque that Ms. Dinoy has informed me they will find a spot for in the museum and will be used for the years to come. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I would ask you to stand for our protocol 2 minutes of silence in remembrance or in tribute of our fallen, killed in action, missing in action, or for those serving.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our closing ceremonies for the 2016 Flags of Remembrance ceremony. I ask of the general public to please stay back for 10 minutes for photo opportunities with Lieutenant Colonel McCrimmon, the director of the museum, Mr. Kitson, and the recipients. After that, Lieutenant Colonel McCrimmon has accepted to stay amongst us for more pictures. And to my great surprise, and I'm sure to my co-chair, she would also like to walk out to the flag line and help us with the takedown. So if you could please stand back for 10 minutes to allow them. And there is coffee and I think cookies in the back, which by the way have been sponsored by the museum. Thank you very much. This concludes our ceremonies. Myself and my co-chair will bid farewell to our reviewing officer, and then pictures will be taken, and then Lieutenant Colonel McCrimmon will come and see you after the pictures. Thank you for your attendance, thank you for coming, and see you next year.